The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I was recently at a chasana, and I'm sitting down next to a Yid, he's at a yeshiva, and I'm talking to him, and he tells me his life story. Fascinating. I'm getting into a shmooze. He was a generation before me, and he grew up just in America right after the war. And he was described as his parents came out, they were survivors, and they were what you would call modern people. And after he finished his high school, there was no even a question that he should continue on to yeshiva. He doesn't want him to go to university. And he went to university, and after 2 years, he was studying accounting. He decided he wants to go to yeshiva. His parents wouldn't hear of it. He went to a certain Rosh Yeshiva, and he asked, would you take me into yeshiva? I want to learn. He said, fine, I'll take you. And he says, look, I've got no tuition. I can't pay. My parents aren't going to pay for me. So the Rosh Yeshiva told him, you know what? I'll take you without tuition. And he says to him, good, you can take me without tuition. But there's dormitory, there's food, all that costs money. For me to just sit in your yeshiva, I understand not going to cost you, but for that, I want to pay for that. So he suggested, the fellow's telling this story, suggested that since I have somewhat of a degree in accounting, I'll get it. I'll work 1 day a week, and what I earn that 1 day, I'll pay the yeshiva for my room and board, for the food. And I'm listening to this, I'm astonished. I'm trying to remember if when I was a kid in yeshiva, or anybody today, even thinking of the word tuition. Tuition, that's like something old people talk about, cholesterol or, mortgages. It has nothing to do with me. I go to yeshiva. I want to go to yeshiva. Good enough, I want to learn. The thought that there was once a world where a kid would think, I've got to give something for what I'm getting. I'm not just entitled to it. That a person was an ish rather than just a child who gets. Is something that's so foreign to me. Now, I know there's a Rosh Yeshiva in Monsey, Rabbi Moshe Green, was eingesunt and stark for years. He insisted that the Bochrim would bring the tuition, their father, they would have to hand it over, they should give it to the boys, and they should give it over to him in his hands. They should know their fathers are paying it, they should come and learn. I have a little bit of an idea that not just everything is coming to me. The me generation gave birth to the generation of entitlement. They tell a story of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach once came home on a Shabbos, and he was very upset. And he was usually very calm. He didn't know what was bothering him. He said, what's bothering the Rosh Yeshiva? He says, he was just passing by a shul, and it was a chassan, was his oifru of that Shabbos, and he saw the father is walking, carrying tables and chairs, and the chassan is walking behind him. So he asked the bocha, he says, why is your father carrying tables and chairs and you're not? And he answered me very proudly, he says, well, I don't carry in the Erev. My father does carry in the Erev, so I'm letting him carry. And if Shlomo Zalman was so shocked, and the person doesn't carry in the Erev, it's not here. But that he didn't even see that there was something unusual, and it was a normal thing for a person to be served. If we live with the feeling that it's magiali, that everything is coming to me, I never want to be an ish. I never want to be a mashpia, because that means chiyuvim. And I don't want responsibilities. That means giving from myself instead of receiving. And we become afraid to be an ish. I remember the day of my bar mitzvah, the afternoon before the evening when I became 13 years old. So my Zayda was a Rav, and he was an old-time Rav, and he asked me, he says, no, Ephraim, are you excited for your bar mitzvah? And I said, no. He says, why are you not excited? I said, well, it's a big achrayas. What do I need all this for? Schar, v'oinish, till now I was a free person. And now all this, it's very oppressive. To my mazel, my Zayda, that night, at the bar mitzvah, he incorporated the whole story into his drosha. Ich hab heute gefragt der bar mitzvah boche, sie ist excited zu werden bar mitzvah, und hat geantwortet, sei die nein, ich will nicht sein bar mitzvah. And he said, Zugi ich vater bar mitzvah boche, loi sugiri mipnei ish. Don't be afraid to be an ish. Moire de Getaich. Don't be afraid to assume responsibility. Don't be afraid to be mashpia, to be an ish, rather than to be a makabel. We don't think in these terms. A bacha once came in to me. Bacha learns in a very prestigious yeshiva. And he's very upset. He was in tears. Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares. My Rabbi doesn't care about me. My Rosh Yeshiva doesn't care about me. Nobody cares. What about your parents? My parents don't really care about me. If I'm good, it makes them proud, but they don't care about me. And he was very upset that nobody cares about him. So I asked him, who do you care about? And he's thinking, well, I care about my parents. I said, really? You care about yourself. You need to have parents, so you care about them. And he's thinking, he says, yeah, but I'm their kid. They have to care about me. I don't have to care about them. Then I realized there's a new mindset where we're programmed, even children are programmed, that everybody is entitled to be cared for, that we're born with a sign, handle with care. And as soon as we suspect we're not being cared for, we start raising the alarm and accusing everybody of not caring. But it doesn't enter our mind, maybe we should be the carers. We're so used to being cared for. I just went to Menachem Oval, a Yid in Muncie, whose mother just passed away, past the age of 90. Unbelievable person, I had the chus to know her. She was an Einikel of the Rigas HaBoisem. And he was telling me about her life. It was a Musa Shmuz, just listen to 10 minutes. Her mother died in childbirth. She never saw her mother. She never was kissed by her mother, never held by her mother. Her father remarried, and when she was 15 years old, already a few more children, her father died. She was left all alone caring for 3 children. When the war came, she was deported to Auschwitz. And there was a group of girls, they were relatives, friends who stuck together. And she had a fabulous sense of humor. And at night, because the women who were there with her came to the shiva and they were telling over the story, how she would make her business at night in Auschwitz to get all the girls to laugh. She would tell funny stories and jokes just to get everybody to laugh. Somehow she procured a kohlrabi with some carrots and some celery and a knife. And she spent time cutting out the kohlrabi into the shape of a basket. She cut the carrots into flowers and made a design out of it. And it came on Purim, she gave it shalach manos to the other girls. And then while they were admiring her handiwork, the SS man walked in and he said, "Wer hat das gemacht?" Who made that? Jim says, "I did." And the next day he brought her a shopping bag full of vegetables. He wanted her to make more. He wanted to give out gifts to his friends. And she was able to cut off and from the shavings of the leftover vegetables to help feed her friends. Now, this is not about generosity, about selflessness, about giving. Of course it is. It's much more about hishtadel liyois ish, a person who was never cared for, who understood that I'm in a situation, I have to be the carer. B'mokim she'ein anoshim hishtadel liyois ish. And when one has that vision, one is not satisfied. One is a consequence of the other. The reason that we've given into this surrender and accepting who we are is because we're lacking in Ishtadel Liyois Ish. Those who have that facet in their personality, in their avodah, are never zufrieden. They're never satisfied with what they are. They want to be more.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org